Welcome back to the Artefactors Union. I am your host and foreman, Douglas Scoundrels, now with a head cold and a sexy voice. Today we are assembling the Arachnophobia box for the Arcanist faction. And it's spiders. It's just a bunch of spiders. You got a big guy in the center and a little guy here, and then there's a bunch of other little guys. But we've got technically 3 models in this box, that being the Mecharachnids, the Steam Arachnids, and the Steam Arachnid swarms. So let's look at our renders. You can see the Mecharachnids on top, bigger spiders, and then the Steam Arachnids, which there are technically 12 in the box, but you will do 6 individual Steam Arachnids, and then 2 sets of 3 on one base for the Steam Arachnid swarms. So let's get the easy models out of the way and do the Steam Arachnids first. Here are our Steam Arachnid sprues. They're identical, and only have 3 unique sculpts amongst all 6. So we'll just assemble each unique sculpt, and then I'll show you all of them put together. How about that? So we'll call this one Steam Arachnid 1, which is just body, leg, exhaust, and then a copy of it be body, leg, exhaust. Steam Arachnid 2, body, leg, exhaust. Notice the pattern. And Steam Arachnid 3, body, leg, exhaust. Alright, we're looking at the body head-on. You see those 5 dots there? Those are lenses or eyes or whatever. And on the back of this will be the where we jam the exhaust. So I have the model held by the front left leg. Now let's go ahead and grab the leg that's adjacent to the body, this one right there. That'll be our front right leg, as you see here. Now this is a relatively old model, and I had to do a decent amount of trimming on the peg that goes inside of the hole to get it to fit in as flush as it is now. As you can see, it's not perfect flush still. So if you were picky like I am, you'll just need to do a little bit of shaving, and if you're not, then you can just squeeze it in there. Just be gentle and only put pressure on like the base right here, because the legs will obviously snap if you put any sort of pressure on them. But let's grab our back left leg and our exhaust pipe. Back left leg, exhaust pipe. Back left leg, which also needs some trimming, and the exhaust pipe. All done. Steam Arachnid number 1 is done. Hardest part was just trimming off the nubs to get the legs to fit on as close to the body as possible. But pretty quick, only a few bits. Now all you need to do is... Actually, never mind, I'm going to do something else for the reveal. Okay, let's move on to the second model, second Steam Arachnid. Here's our body. I am relatively certain that this is going to be our back right leg, and this is going to be our front left leg, and of course the exhaust is the exhaust. Let's get started. So here's our back right leg, and it took me a lot of trimming of the connection point to get it in there. I hope that it is just an issue with my particular sprue, but it may require just a lot of shaving on your part. Alternatively, I don't think it would be that difficult to just cut off the tooth that goes into the hole and then just glue it kind of like flat against the body of the model. I really think that would be fine, but best of luck if you try to trim it down. This is one of those really old sets, so I'm not surprised it has difficult parts like that. Let's give him an exhaust pipe real quick. I got that one in just fine. Now let's do the last leg. There it is. This one had a little bit of, needing pressure to get it in there, but it actually fits, unlike the other leg. This is a bit messy, to be perfectly honest, this particular model, so I'm going to go ahead and build another one and show you what that looks like, and hopefully it'll be nicer. Yeah, that guy looks a lot better. I forgot to do this for this model, so Steam Arachnid B is done. Both legs, kind of difficult to put in. The back right leg, it feels like it's impossible with how it is on the sprue, just coming out the sprue. I need to do a lot of trimming, but hopefully that's just the sprues I have. And if that's the problem you have, I think you will be fine just cutting off the tooth and gluing what's left to the round ball of the body. It should be fine. But this is what he looks like. Moving on. So as our last sculpt, same as before, body with 2 legs and exhaust pipe. I believe this leg is going to be our front left leg. You can see the face there. And this leg is going to be our back right leg. Obviously, I'll double check and confirm that for you or not. Then we'll finish with the exhaust pipe. Yeah, I was right. So here's the body, and here's the leg I clipped out. So that'll be our front left leg right here. Like so. Now grab the other leg and just jam it into our back right leg slot. It also went in quite easy, so let's go ahead and do the tailpipe. Cool. All done. Now let's look at them. Alright. Steam Arachnid 3 is done. By far the easiest out of all 3 of them. None of the legs gave me any sort of issue, so this is not my favorite. I realize I've not been naming all of them, and I will come up with something real quick, but let me show you the other, technically, models in the box. This is technically a Steam Arachnid Swarm, a different model in the game. It is literally just 3 Steam Arachnids on a 40mm base as opposed to a 30. There you go. You can do the same sculpt, or you can do different ones. I feel like different ones gives it a little bit more chaotic look. Just completely up to you. Let's move on to the actual difficult part of this box, the Mecharachnids. Oh, lordy. Alright, we are looking at Mecharachnid 1A. It's 1 in the instructions. This is the one that is rearing up. It's not scuttling flat, it's got its abdomen almost touching the ground. And it's slightly easier just due to the fact that it's a lot more understandable how the legs go in there on this one than the other one. So we're going to go follow the instructions on the line. Hooray, thank you, weird. Put the 2 halves of the body together, and then sort of the top of the thorax / head. And then these 2 antennae, well, they're like lightning rods, I guess, that go in the back. Excuse me. And then after that, we will combine these 2 parts of the top of the abdomen as well as the buzzsaw. Combine them with the initial assembly, and then we'll do all the legs and connect that to the main body. Alright, let's get started. The first of the 2 big body pieces, these pegs are going to fit into holes on the other bit, but it will also connect it down here along the bottom of the body as well. This is a hard build. Okay, here's our body once we combine the 2 pieces together. Now you can see here that this isn't quite straight, it's sort of bent downward, and that's because we've pushed it too far. So what we need to do is just sort of pull on the tops like this and widen it out and pretty much as far as it'll go while still keeping it connected down here. And what you really should do next is, while this is still soft, go and grab one of the carapace pieces, or the abdomen pieces, and make sure it fits where it's supposed to go. You can check the instructions, or look at the render, or just like this piece I did here, and if it's in between there nicely, then you're good. And if it doesn't fit, you need to keep stretching it out until it does. But we can't glue this guy on yet. We got to do the little lightning rod things first. But yeah, make sure you spread it out before it solidifies, because you're going to have a harder time getting to fix it. Alright, let's go and clip out the 2 lightning rod bits. Alright, here are our 2 lightning rod bits, and you can see that they're not symmetrical, both in that they're different from each other. One has like a curved crossbar, and the other one is straight, and that both, if you look from the top down, they're not symmetrical, and there's only one right way they're going to fit into the model. So the one with the curved crossbar is going to go towards the front of the abdomen, and the one with the straight crossbar is going to be going on the back of the abdomen. Just do a bit of dry fitting, and you'll be able to pretty easily figure out what their orientation is. Let me show you what they look like added to the model. The bit with the curved crossbar is going to go in this slot right here. Here it is. Fits in there nice and snug. You can kind of see that this sort of raised area is bigger on the top than on the bottom here, and same with this side. But let's go ahead and add the other one in. Obviously right in this bracket. There we go again. Fits in nice and snug. And if you can measure with your eyes, this bump on this side is a little bit bigger than this bump on this side. Again, if you can't see it, dry fitting is your friend. It'll tell you how they're supposed to go. So now let's finally grab that other bit of the carapace here, this guy, and it's going to go right in there. And that's what it looks like. You really want to make sure it slides all the way down to fit into this crevice here. I don't know what this looks like on the other side. Just, you know, basically shift it this way until it stops moving. Excuse me. But let's do the last top of the abdomen. That'll be this piece. I had already chopped up the sprue before I realized I had to go back and change things, so I'm just showing you the bit now instead of pointing to it on the sprue. All done. Quite nice. We've done with the abdomen except for the sort of ridged bit that goes right down this channel here, you see. And that bit is going to be, here's what reminds of the sprue, it's going to be this bit right here. Now you can see that it has a sort of flat side on one end and one that's more of a gentle angle. And that will match up with the abdomen. If you look at the orientation, the channel just kind of abruptly stops at like a wall here where it's more gradual here. So use that as your guide. We're looking quite pretty now. So let's grab the last bit of the abdomen that isn't the giant buzzsaw. This guy, which is the cute little robot face. But that is going to go right like that. And that is it connected. Just trust me that it's better to put this on after that bit of the abdomen top than it is the other way around. I built these a long time ago, and I remember that being a big pain to get that to wedge in there. So, got the order right this time. Now let's just grab the big old buzzsaw, and this thing right here, and we're going to be popping it right in there, coming up and then across in a very threatening manner. And that's it attached. Now let's get to working on the legs. Oh, it looks like it could use a little bit of nudging. Alright, legs time. Here's the remainder of our sprue. You can see all the leggy bits plus this bottom of the abdomen and head. We're going to add this bit first because these are the back set of legs. These are the next set of legs that should be able to go in as well without needing this thing. And then we're going to glue this pair that are together on this, as well as this leg and this leg, which also go on this. And then we will jam this into the spider and we should be done. Alright, let's first attach this bit. And that is going to go right in this big old gap, so it's still going to be like part of the abdomen pretty much. Apologize again before we do that. We actually need to add in this pair of legs. This is the bit we're looking at. They're just ever so slightly bent, and this, I believe the orientation is just towards the front of the miniature, but that's going to go up in here. Just trying to make it look as nice as possible. I believe once you put the other bit in that I just showed you in here, this will sort of pop into the correct position. The problem is it's really hard to get it in that position after that other bit is in there. So we're going to go ahead and glue this in, and then very quickly put the other bit in. There it is. Don't worry too much about orientation. Just try to make it even. And now we're going to go ahead and actually put in this bit. You need to sneak it underneath those legs, but it's not going to be too dull. You can see I'm already starting to do it here. And don't worry if the legs move. We just need them in there more than anything. There. That doesn't look too bad. Now, you could definitely, I think, wedge that in there after the fact, but while I tried dry fitting it, it was quite hard, so I figured this order was going to be better, and it didn't seem that difficult. I mean, this whole thing is difficult. I'll fully admit that this is a very difficult kit. I don't like that it's this difficult, but I'm just trying to help you build it, and I'm glad that they've learned from their mistakes, and we don't see stuff like this in 3rd edition. At least not a whole lot. Another quick PSA, these lightning rod things like to bend off and break. I already actually bent one slightly. I'm not perfect, I fully admit that. But just be cautious of them. Yet another thing you need to keep your mind on when you're building this. But okay, let's get the rest of the legs in there. Oh, also, set this guy on the ground, and then slightly orient the legs so that all 4 of them are on the ground. They should all 4 be on the ground. Okay? So the bit that we're going to be kind of attaching everything to is here. We're looking at it on the inside of the model. So this is the actual part that'll be facing out. But we've got 2 individual legs and a pair combined together. The pair is going to go right along here. That shouldn't be too hard to connect. The bigger issue is these 2 guys getting them in slot in here. You can see that their connections have this square here. That's going to be sitting inside the model. You can see these little right angles right here. That's what they're going to glue into. So the sort of more bent one is going to be the one towards the back. I guess they'd make it the second leg, and this will be the foreleg, the front one, that's more raised. All right, let's pull this guy off first, and we'll add this, then glue this, and we'll put it all in, hopefully. Here is our conjoining bit. We're looking at it from the front. This is the lower jaw of the head. So we're going to grab the leg that is more bent, the individual leg that is more bent, we're going to glue it right in here. Okay, here it is, and I realize that it's going to be hard to put the other leg in there, so you could probably do that leg first, but I wanted to show you that it just fits nice and snugly in that little corner. And then that's just what we're going to do with the other leg. And there, that one is as well. Having a hard time focusing on that with the camera. But you can also see it just fits nicely in the corner. And that's what we want to see. Now let's glue the other 2 limbs on this side. There are those 2. Goes in fairly easily enough. You just want the legs to be fairly similar to each other. Now let's glue this into the bottom of our spider and call them good. Oh, goodness. Okay, so you kind of drop it in, and it will slide into place fairly easily, but obviously you want to avoid using or messing with the legs too much. So actually, tweezers did a great job here. You just reach right in there, and you mash the top and the bottom of the head and thorax together. And there you go. One whole incredibly difficult spider. Ain't she pretty? Goodness, this was difficult. He saw me struggling, but outside of like the really flimsy lightning rods and just being very careful with connecting the legs so you don't nudge them out of place, the real pain here is just getting your order correctly. And now that you've seen me do it, you should have a good idea what needs to go first, and that will save you a lot of headache. Now, I was somewhat wrong saying that third set of legs, let's see, this guy and the other one attached to it on the same bit need to be touching the ground. It looks like one of them touches the ground, the other one does not. I'm not entirely certain that I have the orientation right. In fact, you could probably flip it, and I think it would look good. And then maybe the other leg is up. I'm wondering if anyone else has done it the other way around. I don't think the orientation matters. But anyways, we are done with this one. Let's move on to the last model in this box. Alright, we got this. We got this. Believe in me who believes in you. I believe in myself, too. Right. Second Mecharachnid. Very similar build to the first one, although we've got 4 sets of leg pairs as opposed to 2, yeah, whatever that was. So let's start it like we did before. We'll grab 2 of the outer main abdomen, glue them together, make sure they're wide enough. Then we'll do both of the lightning rods, then add part of our topper to the abdomen, the other topper to the abdomen, the sort of spines that go on the back, and then the top of the thorax and head, the buzzsaw, and then we'll figure out the leg situation last. Alright, grab the 2 bits of the body. Here's the 2 pieces put together, and same as before, pull out the top, so pushing the bottom together and make sure it's wide as possible at the top. Alright, let's go grab our lightning rods. And just the same as before, the one with the curved crossbar is going to go into the front channel like so. And like before, there's only one orientation it particularly likes. So let's go ahead and add the flat-sided one now. And that guy's in. Alright, let's get to covering up that big old hole in the abdomen. Starting with... oh, dropped a bunch of spiders. Great. This bit, and then this bit. Yeah, this is just turning into a complete repeat of the first Mecharachnid. But I'm not complaining, so we only have one model making us cry, hopefully. Anyways, put the other part of the abdomen on now. There we go. Now we have a completely enclosed abdomen. Let's go ahead and grab the spines, I guess. Let's see. Find them on the... right here. This guy. And just the same as the last one, you can see that the angles are slightly different slopes. And that'll correspond with... it'll be going like this. Right? Okay. Spines. Now, reminder, we're going to grab that guy, put it on top of the thorax and head, and then add this dude, and then we were going to brainstorm the legs. Here's the top of the body parts, and we got a buzzsaw flying through this like we've done it before or something. Leg time. Hey, actually, this doesn't take much thought at all. Almost said any thought. But then that would be too easy to make fun of me. We're actually looking at back to front in order, according to the instructions, which I'm going to go ahead and believe here. Because all the dots kind of make sense with how the instructions are, too. So we're actually looking at the legs as well, front on. So if we were looking at the spider, we would see these legs, this side of 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 these legs, that, all that stuff. So now how do we add them to the model? Well, I'm going to go and pop these out, do a bit of dry fitting, and see if it's easier to glue them to this thing or the underside right here along these channels. Give me a second. Okay, I don't really like either option, but I'm just not sure how you can add them to the smaller bit and still be able to add stuff to it without knocking them out of place. So we're going to go ahead and put them in the channels here on the bug and just pretty much do a good enough job that they'll stay put, and then when we put the last bit on, including them in the abdomen, the thorax, I'm forgetting my bug parts, it should adjust them enough that they're in the right spot. Alright. First up is the legs way in the back. We're going to be using this one. It has the dot on it. There you go, you see. And there's two with this dot, but the crossbar is a different length for either of them. And this is the one that goes in the back because it's the longer crossbar, so we'll go in there. Hurrying right along to the next one, we are looking at the bit with the two dots there on the crossbar. And I'm just going off of the orientation it has on the instructions, so this is how it's going to be. Scuttling right along, we're going to go with the one that has the U shape in the center, and that'll be our next set of legs. And so at this point you might start accidentally nudging the other legs. Just use your pokey stick of choice to just push it down and tap it into place. Let's do the last set of legs. The other one with the dot on the front, but it's a more narrow crossbar. Last one's in, just a little bit more nudging and a little more poking with your pokey stick. Now let's get that last bit on there ASAP. Okay, so that didn't end up working out. I'm not saying it won't work for some people, but apparently my glue job was poor enough, or specifically the alignment was poor enough that I couldn't really get it to close. But I found a safer way, and I'm going to show that to you. And I'm also fully willing to admit my mistakes. So I went and kind of took everything out. I put the back legs in, and I think those are going to be fine, regardless of what you do. But then I went and glued the second set of legs there. And then what I ended up doing is I put this piece in there on top, and then just pushed it into place, like I was finishing up the assembly. Now, I'm not done, obviously, but this will force it to go where it's supposed to, because you can see the gaps. Not bad. I might try and squeeze on this side just a little bit, but it can force it into the right spot if it's just one set of legs. Now gently pull that bit off, and those legs should be where they're supposed to be. And then do with the next one and the next one. Well, obviously on the last one you'll need to glue it in, but as long as you're just gluing it in sort of where the legs meet the upper part of the body, then you shouldn't be accidentally gluing this bit to the spider. So I'll show you the next one. And I guess I never really pointed out that it's hard to tell which side this is supposed to go in, but if you look here, it's not straight across. They're kind of angled towards one side or the other. And we want this to be angled towards the front of the spider, so we're looking at the legs as we should if we were staring at the spider head on. I think this one was the problem child before. Let's see if we can get it in correctly. There we go. Push it down. Is it got on this side as well? Seems to be. Heck yes. Alright. Well, that's more angled up than I was expecting it to be. Can I... Well, let me experiment. Oh, that's right. I just, got pretty sure I just assumed that the angle was different on these, and so that's why I wasn't going in. But this is what we're looking at straight on. Let's pop that out and do the last set. Moment of truth. Got that in there. Let's go ahead and just squeeze it down. Whoops. Okay. So it just basically took me squeezing them together for a while, and we got something I'm gonna call good. Do whatever works best for you out of those, I guess, two options I showed you. You can also still just try to glue it to this bit on the bottom, and that might net you better results. Just be really, really careful, because you're going to be knocking stuff out of place a lot, I feel. In fact, I'm going to go and give that a shot. Why not? Yeah, well, it looks kind of messy now that I've pulled it apart a couple times. I think that ended up slightly better. It also helped that it was easy to stick to the underside of that, to that bit, because I've been gluing it multiple times. Still kept the back legs back in there. That was... Those just aren't going anywhere, so just do what you think works best, and obviously don't fiddle with it too dang much. As long as it looks close, you're good. You have my permission to do a good enough on this, just because of how difficult it is. Be careful with it, and learn from my mistakes, and it'll be alright. Let's look at them. Our second Mecharachnid is done. Also quite difficult, but we finished him. Sorry that he's listing. If it was my model, I'd be a little bit more cautious. Not cautious. I would be more concerned with basing him upright, but this is just to keep him on the base, to show you the model and also imply what the base size is. Hardest parts with the legs, just like the last one, and watch out for those landing rods. You will bend them if you're not careful. Let's look at the whole box. The Arachnophobia box is done. One sec. We are done with the Arachnophobia box. Good lord. 14 sculpts, 10 models, 64 legs. A lot of spiders. Alright, now I got names. Now I had this. Alright. For the Steam Arachnids, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If you can't tell which is which, that's a you problem. As for the Mecharachnids, we have John Benedict as the upright one, and Julius Benedict as the less upright one. I wonder if you could guess what the most difficult part of this box was. Yeah, obviously. It's the Mecharachnids. At least, at the very least, they look complicated and they're really cool. But if you tell someone they were god-awful and difficult to assemble, they would believe you, so there's that. At least. Again, I'm just glad Weird doesn't really make stuff like this anymore, because that was needless, let's be honest. But at least now you have instructions. You know what to do and what not to do, so you're welcome. And I'm going to go get myself a drink. I have been your foreman, Douglas Scoundrels, helping you build a better Malifaux. Enjoy your spiders. Lots and lots of spiders.